Hello guys, Squiggle here, and welcome to my Flavor of the Month video. Now, as you guys know, monks are completely destroying right now. I think that the best tank class for raiding, best DPS for raiding, and their healing spec is pretty damn good as well. So right now, if you want to be getting anything up, it's probably going to be a Windwalker monk. Now, obviously, you guys are seeing a lot of Windwalker monks running around. A lot of them aren't doing too much damage because a lot of them just think, hey, this class is broken, I don't really need to know how to play it that well. So if you want to be the best Windwalker monk going, watch this guide. I've actually got a really good Windwalker monk who's been giving me some good information recently. This is actually his clip, his name is Odex. So even though I don't have the Windwalker legendaries or the best setup for it, such as trinkets and relics, this guy will help us today to find out the best way to maximize our Windwalker monk. Now, in this first clip that you see, he actually gets a rank 1 for eye level and gets a 99% pass for overall 966 eye level, so this guy probably knows what he's doing. And on top of this, his blackout damage wasn't actually that high, which is what you look for in a very good log. You see a lot of these guys with 18% blackout kick damage or something that just get insane procs, and this one was about 13%, so this could have potentially been a rank 1 overall if he got better procs. Now for starters, what has changed since our last video? Well, we're going to see that all of the Windwalker monks are going to be running the helmet, the new 4-piece, the chest, and they are going to be running with Storm, Earth and Fire instead of Serenity. They're going to be going Whirling Dragon Punch, and this is simply because with the extra chi generation from your 4 set, you actually don't need the Serenity in your opener. Now what we are going to see in this clip, that he actually opens up with a Tiger Palm into a Touch of Death into a Storm, Earth, Fire. Then if he gets the Blackout Kick proc, he is going to use his Blackout Kick, he is going to then get off his Arcane Torrent, he is going to use his Strike of the Windlord, he is going to generate another Tiger Palm, and he is going to get rid of his Rising Sun Kick and his Fist of Fury. Now, of course, this is pure single target. This is what you want to be doing in all situations. And if there are going to be multiple targets, it is worth saving your Strike of the Windlord and your Fist of Fury for these situations. So the main thing that you're going to see with Odex's gameplay is that he is actually using a lot of blackout kicks within his rotation. Now in between every single blackout kick you want to obviously keep your hit combo up, so you want to cancel this with abilities like Chi Wave, Flying Serpent Kick and Whirling Dragon Punch when you don't have your Rising Sun Kick, Fist of Fury and Strike of the Windlord available. Now what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to get your legendary chest up a lot quicker. It's going to let us get a lot more damage from that, and if you have the right relics in concordance, this can actually make your chest do about 8% of the damage, which of course is a time frame that you are regenerating energy. So if you're using this at the right time, it will make your damage dramatically higher. On top of this, we are seeing that he is basically getting just enough chi to keep these abilities off cooldown all of the time, and with his second Storm, Earth and Fire, he is actually timing it to come up with his second Strike of the Windlord. And then he saves his next Storm, Earth and Fire for when his next Touch of Death comes off cooldown. Now obviously this Touch of Death is going to be doing a lot of damage, so you want to make sure that you're saving all of your cooldowns for this next Touch of Death, and perhaps a second pot if the fight is only going for about 3 minutes. Now this second Touch of Death window, a lot of people, they just jam it, press Storm, Earth and Fire, and they don't actually have their cooldowns up, but you want to make sure that you're getting at least 2 Rising Sun Kicks, you're getting a Strike of the Windlord and a Fist of Fury in this window, as well as your Blackout Kick proc. The next thing that I actually learned from this guy is that you're meant to be using your chest proc along with your concordance. Now I had a fight versus him where I did about 2 or 3% less Crackling Jade Lightning damage than him, simply because he was using it at more optimal times than me. Now the 3 things that you want to remember with your Crackling Jade Lightning stacks are that A, you have high stacks between 18 and 20, that your main abilities are off cooldown. Now obviously if all 3 of your abilities are on cooldown, it's severely impacting your damage. So it might even be worth overcapping this stack a little bit just to make sure that you're getting a lot more damage from those abilities. And thirdly, I wanted to state that with the Concordance, you can do so much more damage. Like if you have Shock Light and Murderous Intent, this is going to make you do way more damage, especially with the agility buff. Now that just about wraps up the single target rotation. Now another thing worth mentioning is that Monk is the best Mythic Plus class at the moment for DPS. This is just destroying a lot of other classes. For example, Boomkins and Affliction Warlocks can't even get close to a good Windwalker. For example, Darky has been doing a lot of the 26s and 27s with J.B and Jakib. I'm sure you guys have been watching them a lot. And it is worth mentioning that he actually is running the risks for Mythic Plus, apart from on tyrannical bosses. Now, this is for obvious reasons. You're not going to get much value out of the Crackling Jade Lightning Vest if it is AoE, and you don't want to be stopping any of your spinning crane kicks and Fists of Fury for this. Now, another thing that you're going to see out of a good Windwalker AoE is you're going to see him using Tiger Palms and Rising Sun Kicks on a lot of different targets in AoE situations before using the spinning crane kick. And then obviously maximizing the target's hit by Fists of Fury and spinning crane kick are paramount to damage, especially when you are using the Storm Earth and Fire. It is worth mentioning as well that if you want to get the number one damage that you can do, you have to make very good use of your Touch of Karma. Now, the best way to make use of Touch of Karma is obviously to make sure you don't have to move out of the mechanic and that you are going to do the damage with the ability at the same time. Now, in some raid scenarios, this means that you're going to take Dampen Harm or Diffuse Magic, and you're simply going to eat abilities and make sure that you don't take any damage. For instance, the Cone of Death on Argus, it is actually safe to stand in this in normal and heroic, dampen harm, and use Touch of Karma, which will allow you to squeeze out another couple of thousand DPS. Now, onto the simulations, and of course, the Monk stats are very good. They are just versatility, mastery, crit, and agility, which don't even impact your playstyle that much. They just make your abilities do a lot more damage. They are extremely good. It's the reason why we're scaling very good with relics at the moment. If you get, say, a good Murderous Intent or Shocklight relic, it will make you do insane amounts of damage. Now, agility is actually really good compared to other classes for monks, so it makes the eye level on our gear even more impactful than those classes. As for the relics, we can see that Strength of Zhuen, Rising Winds, Fists of the Wind, and Split Personality are all insanely good for single target damage, and it is to be taken with a grain of salt because the Fists of the Wind and the Split Personality even get stronger when you have AoE situations. Now, this means that if you're doing more Mythic Plus, you want to be going for these perhaps over the Rising Winds and the Strength of Zhuen, but if you just want to go for those big passes single target, you know what to go. Now, after this, I think that the Netherlight Crucible traits are going to be a lot more important, especially since Murderous Intent, Master of Shadows, and Shocklight are actually valued at more than the Strength of Zhuen, and they give us AoE damage. Same with Torment of the Weak, Secure in the Light, Infusion, and Shadowbind. They all boost our single target and AoE insanely. So make sure that you get your hands on a good relic with a very good Netherlight Crucible trait. Of course, when it comes to your build and your stat priority and relics, you want to be simulating these for yourself. Every single monk setup is completely different, and maybe your stats just work a little bit differently. So don't shoot me, just go to raid bots if you're unsure about anything, and it will make it super easy for you. Lastly, I wanted to go over the sort of gear you should be attempting to get in raids. Now obviously you are seeing a lot of the good monks are running a Shadow Singe Fang and a Golgoneths. Now, these are the two best in slot trinkets for single target and AoE. They don't have the shortcomings of the Eye of Command where you lose your stacks if you're running away from the boss or swapping targets. So these are musts, and I recommend you reroll these every week. Well, Obviously you can't reroll the Golgoneth's Vitality, but I recommend that you reroll the Shadow Singe Fang every week to get a nice fat one. And on top of this, you want to be rerolling the 4 tier bosses and getting these 4 pieces up really nice and high, getting some nice Titan Forges and gems, because obviously you are going to be using these at all times. It is not like other classes that have non-tier legendaries. This class you're always going to be running the 4 piece that excludes the helmet and the chest. So obviously you want to get these as big as possible. Now, that just about wraps up my video, and if I missed anything in this video, it's probably in my 1-month-old Windwalker guide with Serenity. Now, if there are other things that I have missed or you have any simple questions, just ask me below and I'll make sure me and my friend can work through them. And honestly, I'm going to say that I'm happy this class is very strong at the moment. It's in a very good spot. And I hope you guys enjoy this class as much as me and Odex have. Thanks for watching, guys, and happy raiding!